What exactly happened in these last 24 hours? Bitcoin is up over 10%, and BNB, Luna, AVAX, MATIC, and just about every other token also seem to be up in double-digit territory. In fact, the global cryptocurrency market cap is slowly approaching the $2 trillion mark once again. Well, you may be surprised to hear it, but all of this recent activity, all of the catalysts that made it possible, all of this boils down to one on-chain indicator. Let's talk about what it is in this video. Before we dive into this particular indicator, let's just very briefly explain what on-chain data is, what it represents, and how it can help you establish an edge. So there's the question, what is on-chain data? It basically is raw data that represents blockchain activities like transactions and block creation. And from this data, we can analyze what happens on the networks that lead to market movements. For those of you that were around at the time, do you remember the March 2020 Bitcoin sell-off? This was an example that nobody could predict. Nobody really saw that this crash was coming. But take a look at this. Here, this particular crypto quant chart clearly showed the exchange inflows were rapidly going up and a crash was imminent. And had we all seen this on-chain data at the time, we would have been advantaged, and probably none of us would have booked losses for that particular crash. Therefore, this is really, really valuable data to understand. Okay, so fast forward to today, and there's this other metric that you really ought to be paying attention to. It's called SOPR, that stands for Spent Output Profit Ratio. And the way it's lining up currently, it suggests that the market is warming back up, and we may be, perhaps, we don't know for sure, but fingers crossed, we may be heading towards a recovery as a result. Basically, SOPR is an estimate of the profit ratio of all the investors and traders in the market. So it's a ratio of the value of assets when you sell to the value of assets when you bought the same assets. It may sound complicated, but it's really not. Here, let's keep it simple. SOPR values greater than 1. So when SOPR is larger than 1, here you have assets gained and the investor is selling at a profit. Basic, right? SOPR values equal to 1, that just means that assets are a break even in terms of where you bought them. And when the SOPR value is less than 1, investors are selling assets at a loss. So basically when SOPR is going up, investors are taking profits, and when SOPR is going down, investors are selling their assets at a loss. So whether we're talking bull market or bear market, understanding this SOPR value can really help to inform your decisions. And as always, we want to remain unemotional in our investments, whether we're longing, shorting, or just buying and holding. Having an understanding of these kinds of metrics helps us to avoid things like FOMO. Generally speaking, for a bull cycle, the bull run begins right after market corrections when the SOPR is below 1. So in that situation, that's where you might want to consider buying. And then take the flip side of that. When the sentiment is bearish, SOPR rises above 1 and correction begins before the bear market starts. In those situations, that may be the right time to sell before the bear market actually kicks in. Okay, let's take a look at some charts here, beginning with the Bitcoin long-term holder SOPR. So long-term holder SOPR is applicable for long-term holders, and by definition, a long-term holder is someone who is holding Bitcoin or any asset for the past 155 days and beyond. When the value goes up, it implies the actual liquidity in the market is increasing as the assets of long-term holders are considered illiquid. In 2014, LTH SOPR spiked 2 times, and both of those times the market trend got reversed. In 2018, long-term holder SOPR spiked once and the market trend reversed and Bitcoin went into bear market territory. In 2019, Bitcoin was on a downward trend and long-term holder SOPR spiked, which presented a good recovery to near all-time high levels. And in 2021, we saw 3 prominent spikes. These happened in March, in April, and in July. And the first spike indicated the trend would be reversed soon. And the second and most important spike confirmed the trend reversal and indicated a local top. Then Bitcoin fell to $36,000, where we saw a smaller spike. And this was an indication of reversal, but an absence of volume proved to be an issue. That was a problem at the time. So even if you ignored the volume, you would be buying near the local bottom. And the third spike, as I mentioned, occurred in July. And right after that, Bitcoin recovered from the correction. All right, but all of this begs the question, where do we stand right now? What is the current scenario? Well, just a few days ago on the 1st of February, the indicator spiked again. But wait, did long-term holder SOPR flash at 69K? Well, no, but there was another spike during the first week of November, and it turns out long-term holders could not time the top of it. Though during that first week of November, Bitcoin was trading above $60,000. Considering we're just at about 40K at the time of this recording in February of 2022, in retrospect, it seems to not have been too bad a call. All right, so what is the indicator telling us? If you notice, the magnitude of the spike of July and February are identical. So this might be a recovery call after all, and that is possibly what happened briefly. But as per the historic LTH SOPR theory, in times of bearish sentiments, the flash could be signaling the beginning of the bear market. So with what the current SOPR indicates, you need to stay pretty careful. We might see brief moments of recovery, but a long-term rally isn't evident just yet. We're gonna have to keep watching this indicator. Let us know, guys, what you think about these metrics in the comments below. If you're still watching, be sure to like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell to receive notifications. Never financial advice, members of the Altcoin Buzz Army. We're just expressing our opinions and our enthusiasm and some of the methods, quite honestly, that work for us. But once again, any kind of investment does entail corresponding risk, so not official financial or investment advice. Stay safe, members of the Altcoin Buzz Army. Check out these videos, which should be popping up right about now. And as always, we do hope to see you again soon in our next video. Take care.